How's it going, guys? Welcome to What It's Like to Ride. In this episode, I'm going to break down what it's like to ride at Thunder Valley Motocross Park after Nationals. Let's get to it. I'm a pull up flexing on these bitches like a Rolex. Mama tell you, girl, you Cooper that she gorgeous. Real quick, I want to give a shout out to Factory Connection. They're the best suspension, period. If you're having trouble with your bike setup, you need a little bit more comfort, a little bit more handling, send your stuff over to Factory Connection. They'll dial you in. I've tried lots of suspension companies and no one's dialed me in quite like Factory Connection. They fine tune it to get it matched up exactly to your riding style, your bike, your size, your weight. So I highly recommend sending them down. Okay, so I know I've already done one of these videos on Thunder Valley. This is another one to kind of show you the difference between like a normal amateur practice day versus when they have it prepped and ready for the pros to ride after the Nationals. So there's a bunch of kind of track changes. They have the layout pretty much the same, but they just make it bigger and gnarlier for the pros to ride. I've ridden a couple tracks, mainly like Thunder Valley and Paula after the Nationals when they've left it how the pros have it, and it's a pretty crazy difference. You'll see the guys on TV do these tracks, and then you'll go ride like a month or so after, and everything's kind of tamed down, and you know, it feels like you're doing what they're doing because it looks the same, but really what they're doing is gnarly, and it's so much bigger and so much tougher than what you would go ride on a normal day, and they're just that good to where they make it look so much easier. So one of the first big things to note is they always prep the jumps a lot steeper, a little bigger, and just have less room for error. So pretty much all the lips and all the landings are super steep. Like rolling up to it, you'd think this is what like a supercross track looks like, but it's not. This is their national outdoor track, so the supercross is even crazier. All the jumps are super peaked. The landings are a little bit further sometimes to make the jumps a little bit bigger, especially at Paula. I feel like a lot of those jumps they make a lot longer than they do on the amateur days. But the landings themselves too are less forgiving, so you have a little bit less room for error. It's pretty easy to like come up short or go long, and there's a very small distance to land it just perfect. So it's amazing to see these pros land the perfect spot every single lap, lap after lap, no matter how much effort they're putting in. One big difference is the prep is a little bit different. You know, they usually prep it a little deeper on the race day for the pros. Amateur day, they never really prep it the same. Luckily this year, they actually haven't been prepping it super deep at the last couple rounds. So after this, I'd say the prep wasn't a huge difference. When I went, it wasn't super deep. It was pretty hot and really dry, so it's kind of hard to keep water down, so it was a little dry and hard. But there's still quite a few bumps and a lot of like the leftover kind of ruts and things like that. On the hard pack, you can kind of see where they didn't get to dig super deep. There's already lines pre-broken in from when the pros were there, and they were just digging through the hard pack stuff so much that it stayed there the next following week. Another thing is a lot of the jumps or sections or whatever still have big holes and things like that from the pros hitting it. The track wore down a lot. They don't go through and like regroom the whole entire track. A lot of it they kind of just leave. So there's a lot of little pockets and holes and weird things here and there that kind of catch you off guard if you're not expecting it, just because the track gets so gnarly by the end of the day that all they can kind of do is just run a digger through the turns and kind of try and smooth out some of those ruts. But on the jumps and harder sections, it's really hard to kind of take care of those. The best part about being able to go ride after the pros and having the track layout be the same is that you actually get to ride the full length track. Like I said, I've ridden Paula and Thunder Valley a lot after the pros, and the big thing is both those tracks rarely have the full track layout open. For whatever reason, they only have the kind of front section at Paula. You don't get to go up and down the hill very often. Thunder Valley, a lot of those like little switchback sections they've added in to kind of slow the track down. Those they kind of take out, so you just skip right by them. And I think it's really fun that you get to do the full length track and get a little bit longer lap times and try a little bit different sections that slow you down, or a little bit different characters from the rest of the track, maybe different dirt like there is at Paula. And it's really neat that, you know, a couple times a year you'd be able to do that when normally it's kind of off limits. So if you're in an area where there is a national near you, try and see if you can go the weekend after if there's not a race going on or something. A lot of times they do kind of keep the track the same for at least like a week or so. If you do get a chance and you're a good enough rider, go check it out. If you're not very comfortable on the track as it is, I wouldn't recommend going and riding after the pros because it's only going to be harder on you. But if you can get around just fine and you want to try and challenge yourself a little bit more and see what those guys face, you'll get a good understanding. Obviously, it's not going to be 100% unless you're there on the day, either racing or trying to qualify. But if you're not that good, go check it out right after the race happens. See if they kept the track pretty much the same, and just see how gnarly they kind of make these jumps, how steep they are, and how much these guys have to scrub to get through them. That's enough about me talking about it. Here's a few raw clips from Thunder Valley after the pros. As always, thank you for watching. If this video helped you out, please leave a like. If you have suggestions for other videos or places you want me to check out, please mention them in the comment. I'll try and get to it. Thanks.